Hi, welcome back. My name is Rachel and I am an artist, and today we are going to be doing something new. We are going to be diving down deep into a rabbit hole. Like very far. Because while I've never done this before, I've dived deep, and I went down a rabbit hole of stained glass and mosaics. Yay! Very cool. This past May, I was in Portugal for a wedding, and I didn't know Portugal was like super known for tiles. Really cool. They had them everywhere. They were gorgeous, beautiful, and so I bought some. Duh. So I got these two beauties right here for like use for like trivets for my table, because I'm like, they're pretty. Hello, look at that, like, oh, the texture. It's so fun. But I also got these two tiles that are hand painted, and it is an orange tree. I was gonna get a lemon tree because I like blue and yellow for my kitchen, but obviously the orange just looked better because the lemon kind of faded into the white. It wasn't as bright, but I think it worked out. I think it's beautiful. So I brought these tiles home, and of course when I went to figure out how to hang them up, I've never done this before, and I couldn't find anything that was perfect, like the same size. And when we were bringing them back, like they had, obviously they know what they're doing, right? So they glued the tiles to cardboard so that they would fit flat, and then they wrapped them so that they wouldn't, like nothing wouldn't happen, and it was easy to put in your suitcase. Very smart. That, just hold that, put a pin in that, because that'll come back later. So these beautiful tiles that I brought back, I ended up going to Blix, and I was like, I need to find something. I almost found something in Michael's, but it didn't work. So I went to Blix, and I was like, let me get a board. You know that they paint instead of a canvas, it's a board, so it's strong, and I will use that. That's another, put a pin in that, come back to that later. Of course I went with the bigger board, and so had to go down and actually buy tools and start doing mosaics. Of course, that's like the natural progression of how things are supposed to go, right? I can do that. I definitely want to try more mosaics in the future, so be prepared, because this might happen more. You may see more of these videos. So for this video, I have my trusty dusty handy notebook, and I know you guys just love when I give you guys fun facts. So here's some fun facts about Portuguese tiles, also known as Azulejos. Are you ready? I'm ready. Okay. Tiles obviously originated in Egypt and Arabic culture, and they were brought over to Spain and Portugal, and that was around the 13th century. And then King D. Manuel, he made them super popular because he went to Spain, saw how they were using them there, and was like, whoa, that's so cool. Like, let's go back to Sintra and import them, and let's redecorate. And that's exactly what he did, because he was king, right? He was like, let's redecorate. Everyone was like, oh, great, we just finished painting. So the National Palace of Sintra has like beautiful, beautiful tiles. Okay, so the tiles started off being more influenced by the Moorish culture, and they had a lot of geometric designs. And as time went on, they started exploring with hand painting tiles, and they would do like historical scenes or religious scenes or landscapes. I'm gonna put some pictures here so you can see. That took on pretty much what they did in their culture, and they put them all on the inside of buildings, and then eventually they started putting it on the outside of buildings because it could help protect the buildings, and also climate control. And you know, they were more fireproof, I guess, or fire resistant, I should say. Today, artists are continuing the tradition of azulejos, but with like modern twists. They are also keeping the past alive with making patterns very similar to historical ones found all around Portugal. So if you wanted to decorate your home in traditional Portuguese, like, and there are these beautiful tiles that are you know, as time goes on, breaking because of Mother Nature and wear and tear. You can't save everything. Eventually something breaks. And these beautiful historic tiles are no more. And, you know, people want to keep their heritage alive. So they're recreating as best they can the original patterns, and you can buy those as well. And then also, they are known for this very distinct blue and white tile. Okay, that was influenced by the import of Chinese vases, tomato, and it says they were inspired by the Dutch because I came from Deutschland, but they were really imported from China, so they were inspired by the Chinese. So those are my fun facts about Azulejos, Portuguese tiles, and I am excited for you to watch this time lapse of me trying to figure out how to do mosaics. And I'm gonna actually talk to you while it's doing the time lapse because I want you to see and hear my inner thoughts as I was working on this. It was a little stressful, but it was fun, and obviously I liked it, so I want to do it again. Enjoy the time lapse and my voice. So here's my inner thoughts and breakdown as I was working on this. This is the board that I bought at Blix. It obviously was too big, and I was like, ooh, perfect time to mosaic. I ended up measuring out where the tiles were going to go in the middle and marking it and kind of doing a rough sketch in pencil. I wanted to get an idea of what the branches were going to look like. These are the tools that I bought off Mosaic Art Supply. No affiliation, but you know, if you want to, why not? I also got the tiles off there as well. The Acrylic Pro adhesive and grout I got at the hardware store. So these beautiful blue tiles that I got for the background sky and the stained glass, I got them all off Mosaic Art Supply. Pretty good customer service. Obviously they really knew how to package these stained glass so that it would not break in shipping. And look how stinking gorgeous, like beautiful. Look at I thought these would be perfect for leaves because of the variation of colors and how, you know, leaves are not always the same, and it would give some depth. Look how shiny that one is. It's very gorgeous. I was like, oh, at this stage I was feeling like, oh my god, this is going to be the most amazing thing ever. 5 minutes later, just kidding. I got these penny towels to do the oranges because I was a little bit of a chicken to actually cut out circles. So I was like, let's use these. And then I also used these brown ones to kind of make branches. I was like, ooh. So I had these like little, I had a few different shades of brown, orangey brown. And I used those to kind of make like the shadow of the branch. I thought I was being super creative here. Just go with me, okay? Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna start using the tile grout. And it didn't, you remember I told you to put a pin in it? Yeah. So it looks fine now. It was not. I started to do the branches. I was like, okay, cool. Look how awesome this is coming out. And then I had this box because I started cutting the tiles and glass obviously went everywhere, and I have a child, so I cannot have like glass flying around the kitchen and on the floor. So I was doing it in a box. It worked out. It was okay. At this point I was like, okay, I'm cutting branches, I'm cutting leaves. They look pretty cool. And so I started like playing with the blue, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's filling in nice. I'm trying to get in all those little spaces, those little in-betweens, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is coming along. And I was like, wow, I thought it actually is really funny because I thought it wasn't going to take as long, and that's always my problem. I'm like, I can do it. It won't take too long. That was a lie. So this is where I stopped, and I was like, oh my god, it looks like branches. It looks like oranges. It looks like leaves. I'm so cool. And then the next day I went back, and the board, I forgot that the board, when you put something cold and wet on one side, it ends up drying concave and pushes up. So the tiles just kind of popped off. And also I was a little lazy and I didn't completely take off the cardboard on the back. And as I told you before, this is my first time. So, you know, we live and we learn. I should have known better. So this is the beautiful day it was. I ended up moving and doing everything in my driveway because I was like, it's nice out. Let's go outside. So I'm sitting outside with a bowl and I'm trying to scrape off all the cardboard. That white stuff that was on the back is the glue stain from where they glued it onto the cardboard. And I ended up putting more of the tile adhesive on the back side of the board so that they were drying at the same time. That's a nice trick if you're painting something on like one of those foam core boards. If you put some paint on the back at the same time you're painting and let it dry, it'll like flatten out so it doesn't, because the paint makes it curve. And here I am just going along inch by inch, adding some lovely blue tiles. At this point I started feeling a little more confident and I was like, ooh, I start going a little off script of the sketch that I made. And I was like, let's add another branch here and let's add some more tiles here. And I started to slowly add more blue everywhere. That makes no sense. Okay, well, we're going with that. I'm adding more blue everywhere. I started to figure out how to like cut them into smaller pieces and really make it look a little bit more of a mosaic. And it was fun. I do say that it is time consuming, and sitting on the ground, trying to mosaic hunched over was terrible for my back. But look how pretty. It's just coming along. Yeah, I ended up at this point, I was like feeling pretty confident. I'm like, wow, look, it's looking nice. And then I came back and I was like, okay, let me do the other side. This is where I got super, super confident. I was like, oh, I'm not even gonna really follow the sketch. And I just started winging it and putting, stuff down wherever and playing with the size of the leaves and trying to make them look a little bit more different and really filling in some spots. I think it's a little hard to see with the sun reflecting off of it, but it was fun. I will say that I did cut myself a few times. not necessarily bad. I was like trying to push the pieces in and I got like little paper cuts. And I was like, ow, later when I washed my hands because I'm a bebe. And but I'm trying to really fit the blue in between, and I had all these like little bits left from doing all the cutting from the first few, that it was easier to get like little pieces to fit in. So I think that if I do this in the future, I'm probably gonna cut up a bunch of tiles like pre-designed and have them just around to make it easier to kind of fit in the space. Like they're already kind of small. I'm like, oh, this will fit here, this will fit there. And then I'm like, wow, this is actually starting to look like a mosaic and this branch is huge. And oh man, what am I gonna do? And this was my...
Who's the best little cat, huh? Ooh, you fresh boy.
Oh, he's so fresh. That's my little cat. Oh, and that's my pumpkin that I got off of my plants outside. We planted some small pumpkins and I planted actually a really big pumpkin plant, not on purpose. My son came home with it from school and it was one seed and I put it in the garden bed and it like took over everything and I ended up getting like 6 giant pumpkins from it. But anyway, back to the mosaic. This part I was like really in the zone. I was cutting the pieces and really playing with how can I get them in there and really make it look nice. But also at this point I kind of stopped and I looked over at the other side and I was like, wow, that doesn't look as nice as this side. Oops. Yeah, so you can see them really trying to make it fit in the mosaic and I was like, let me just move this around. I realized that I didn't really want this big blue spot. I was like, maybe if I add another branch going down, I could kind of make it blend and it doesn't look as stark. So that's what I did. I tried, I was like, I'm gonna go back and try and add more pieces, but I think I put too much tile adhesive down at some points in the beginning and there was no way I was gonna sit there and kind of scrape it out. So I was like, meh, we're just gonna go with it. And then I looked at it, I stepped back, and I was super nervous. I was like, I had to let it dry, and I have to grout this thing, and I'm not really thrilled with how it came out. Because I was like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna be good. Oh, and then I had to do like the edges too. I also dropped it at one point while grouting. Good thing it was the bottom. It's on the edge. I was like, oh my god, my tiles. Oh, he's just, you know, he's just. He is such a little ham. He would not stop coming up to me. Although once I told him, I'm like, hey, I'm cutting tiles over here. Back up. He really didn't come over anywhere near, so I wasn't really worried about him getting glass in his foot. This is me doing a terrible job, a horrible job of filming, grouting. Yes, I watched a few YouTube tutorials on how to grout before I did this, because what else are you gonna do? How else am I gonna learn on the fly? Yeah, so you basically watch. So you smear on the grout and then you like push it in with a little tool. I used like a little rewards card, and then you, as it's drying, you wash it off. There were some spots where I did it and I didn't really love it. But I mean, for the most part, this was the old side and this was the new side. The old side, new side. The beginning part versus the end part. I think it came out pretty cute. I was very happy with it once the grout was on. I was like, oh, it looks good. You know, it kind of works. It's kind of fun. It definitely gives that mosaic vibe. I think next time I would probably have broken up the blue pieces even more so they weren't like super tiley. But overall, I'm really happy. I mean, it's my first time and it came out super cute. And here it is, hanging in my kitchen. Look how cute. Oh, she's adorable. Well, that was my video on my first time doing mosaics. Let me know what you think, how you think it came out, what does it look like, how bad are my leaves, how great are my leaves, how bad is the sky, how good is the sky. I take all criticism. It was just fun because it's hanging in my kitchen and it's just for me, so I walk past it every day and I get to see it and appreciate it and be like, wow, I did that thing that I never knew how to do, and now I can do it a little bit better than never attempting. So here's to hoping that next time will be even better. If you enjoy art and doing fun creative things and artist chats, please, you know, stick around, hit the subscribe button, and until then, I will see you next time. Bye!